Hey everyone, Ashley Mailloux here with a Coast to Coast Pick 5 ticket for this Sunday, March 19th. If you're into sprint races, this is the sequence for you. All three surfaces will be incorporated: Tapeta, dirt, and turf, and it's going to get kicked off. And actually, the first three races will all be from Gulfstream Park. Race number 8 from them is the first leg of the sequence. It's a 5 furlong Tapeta sprint, $35,000 claiming event. And I went light here. I singled. I actually got down to 2 horses in the end, the number 7 Best Defense and the 8 Midnight Getaway. I just thought, yes, there's a lot of speed in here, and I think horses are going to be gunning for it in this 5 furlong sprint. But the number 7 Best Defense, this is a horse that's, switched barns several times in his career, was claimed back on January 12th for 50,000, and they put this horse in and wasn't in for a tag. Was part of the pace scenario, faded and finished 5th, but this is some class relief for him. So I like him making the second start in the barn. Tyler Gaffleone rides very well for Mike Maker, so this is the horse that I decided to single off the bat. Now we'll move to race number 9 at Gulfstream Park. It's a 5 furlong turf sprint allowance optional claiming competition. And in looking at this group, it was borderline. I feel like, you could go light in here. Maybe you can make a case for 1 or 2 other horses in here. But at the end of the day, I did narrow it down to the number 1 High Front and the 6 Hope in Him. High Front arguably has some class and back class. You see most recently raced back in May of 2022 at Belmont. But in that 7-ace event, $100,000 stakes race, only beat a couple of runners, but look at the names in there. The big one being Big Invasion, who it'll be interesting to see how he races the day before as he makes his return in a stakes race at Gulfstream Park. He's just faced really nice horses. High Front has some early foot to him and not necessarily going to be the pace setter, but he's coming out of some really quick races where he has been forwardly placed and he has the inside draw. So I think Joel Rosario has some options with this one. And then I also use the number 6 Hope in Him, who been an interesting horse to follow at Gulfstream Park as a Tapeta specialist, got on the turf last time out and ran a really bang-up race, a really good effort. Just had some actually issues in the lane, had to steady a little bit there and ended up finishing 3rd. So I'm excited to see him stay on the turf again. I'm just looking at his form. He's really hard to knock. He is a win machine and just, I think, a little bit of an unfortunate trip last time out. So those are my 2 here in race number 9. We'll move forward to race number 10 at Gulfstream Park. It's a maiden optional claiming event where the Florida breds are protected in this spot, 6 furlongs on the main track. It is a big field, and I thought this was kind of a head scratcher race, maybe different directions to go in. For me, the number 3 Powertrain I thought was pretty interesting. This is a horse that debuted at maiden special weight competition back at December 31st. So that final chance to race as a 2-year-old, only beat a couple of runners, but look at the names in there. You see Shesterkin, Kentucky Joker. We know Shesterkin ran a really big race here and then ended up, getting his way into a stakes race more recently at Tampa. I think the big thing to note with this horse is this is some class relief. Safi does very well with maiden second time out, and he's in for a tag. He's in for 50,000. The number 5 Night Ride, I think, is going to take some respect. Talking about another race that was maybe a productive one, that maiden special weight event on February 9th. In terms of looking at some of the horses in there, they've come back to run okay since then. And in his case, he was fanned out very wide in the turn, lost a ton of ground, but still was trying to kind of propel himself forward. And I thought to get 4th in there with the trip that he got was a horse to use in this spot. And then on the outside, the number 11, Mr. Rhodium, this one out of the Eddie Plisa Jr. barn, ran very well last time out, actually hit the board. Now, albeit it was on the Tapeta, he's going to get back to the dirt, which I think is an intriguing move. He hadn't been on, running the best races in his first and second career start on the dirt, but they wanted to get him back on the dirt. And, he's trained well on the dirt in the past. So I did use the 11 in this 10th race as well at Gulfstream Park. Now, we'll go to the West Coast. We'll stay out there. Race number 5 from Santa Anita is a 5.5 furlong turf sprint and allowance optional claiming event. Went with 2 runners in here. The number 4, Mas Rapido, being my top selection. This horse has kind of been knocking on the door in those last couple efforts, and he's been pretty strong, especially in the last 2. I think he might have needed that race last time out, and he just got denied in the end to finish second by half a length. I really like him making that second start off the freshening. Frankie Dettori has the call. And then the number 8, Valiant Sir, a winner last out. An interesting stat here for the Jeff Mullins barn with maiden winners last time out on the turf the past year. 5 for 10 in terms of wins, 70% in the money, $6.52 ROI. That was enough said for me there to kind of use the 8 in here. Curious to see what he'll go off at in this spot. Then to wrap things up, race number 7 from Santa Anita. This is for the state bred horses, 5.5 furlongs on the turf. And I did decide to spread in here. I used the 2, 4, and the 8. 4 is an interesting horse that was, privately purchased, now goes to the Michael McCarthy barn. The 2 is going to cut back in distance, and the 8, Tom and Jazzy, I think, is probably one of the more reliable horses in the field. So for me, a $36 ticket in Sunday's Coast to Coast Pick 5. Gonna have to get through leg number 1 though, and I think the coverage going forward might be good enough to get this one home. Good luck.